Are you tired of living a life you don't love? Do you crave more and find the pathway elusive? Well, welcome to the Intuitive Coaching Show with me, Ruth Wilson, the Intuitive Coach, and Dr. Pat, as we begin to discover your unique personal magic and easy steps to create that life you love, that life you crave. As a life coach, certified hypnotherapist, and intuitive, I am passionate about helping you tap into your intuition and learn to work with your inner resources to use your energy to create a life you desire. You don't have to be positive, stuff your feelings, or spend lots of time and money on self-development, because during this show, we'll show you the how and why. Ready to turn crave into brave, desire into inspire, and catapult your life force full steam ahead in the intuitive coaching way? Call in, write in, plug in. The Intuitive Coaching Show starts now.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. And I am Dr. Pat, and I get to take this journey with the most amazing Ruth Wilson. You know, today we're going to tackle something that's so important. All of us have been through it, myself including. I get reminded of this on a regular basis as I start to drift away from the pathway. You know, whether it's a 1-degree drift or a 100-degree drift, it's still a drift. So the question is this: why must you, or why you must, uncover the dream you buried? This is the body of work, part of the body of work that Ruth does. She can work with you on how to remove your stuffed feelings, what's holding you back, all of the above. And that's part of what she does. Whether you know her as somebody that works in your business organization or somebody you work with one-on-one, you know, she becomes the coach that allows you, enables you, and helps you move beyond whatever that is. Whether it is uncovering those deep-seated, totally hidden, yeah, you got it, really hidden thoughts and beliefs. Her practice, her hypnosis sessions, all of that is about creating and increasing abundance and helping you live the life you desire. Today, this is the thing. We're coming out of, yes, I'm going to say it, a pandemic, unlike anything before. It is the place where dreams for so many people have gone to die. That's what it is. I'm just going to say it. Now, if it's not you and you're thinking, nah, that's not, my dream died like way before that, Dr. Pat, like my dream died like 1972, this show is still for you, right, Ruth?
Right.
It's great to talk about this. Look, let's talk about the idea of a buried dream, because when you say the words, people get it. You probably feel it tingling. Let's talk about why this has become so important for you, and what are some of the things people should be aware of just in thinking about this.
Right. I think everybody has this going on, and how buried it is really the question that we're looking at here. Everybody wanted to do something with their life, and they wanted to do something big, and they know in their heart that they're special and that nobody can do what they can do. And that's really what this buried dream is all about. It's not just that you wanted to be a fireman when you were little, or you wanted to be a this or a that. It's because it's an expression of you. It's an expression of your path. And it's an expression that you are really called to follow, but we're really encouraged not to follow that. So everybody has something they wanted to do. I've seen estimates that only 20% of us actually set goals to do those things. So the rest of us are kind of waiting for it to fall in our laps. And for some of us it does, but for some of us it doesn't. And we have to take some action. And a lot of us get a lot of discouragement.
Yeah.
70% of the people who do set goals don't make them.
Yeah.
And maybe that's because they tried and failed, but a lot of the time it's because they just sort of let them go. And we all have somebody who told us what kind of thing we have to do to make money, and what kind of thing we have to do to be a good person, and lots and lots of advice to steer us away from those goals. So most of us have something that's calling to us. And as we age, it calls a little bit louder and a little bit louder. And one of the surefire ways you can tell if I'm talking to you is if you're getting a little angry right now. I've had a lot of clients get angry when I suggest this because there's something they really don't want to dig that up because they think that they can't deal with it. So usually usually you'll know I'm talking to you if you say it's too late, or if you say yeah, but I don't know how to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, let's talk about this really from the perspective of where we sit today. Just because about a dream is buried doesn't mean it can't be resurrected. And I think this is really a common, shall I say, misconception for people. Because if you get into that vibe and that energy, right, of, yeah, I buried, you know how many dreams I buried? I buried a dream over here. I buried a dream when I had my kid. I buried a dream when I did this, buried a dream. I buried a dream when I got my job. It doesn't matter. But let's talk about it. Sometimes we do have to give up on a dream. For example, real quick, when I decided to go back to school, I had to go to school at night. I was working 2 jobs. I realized I couldn't have a dream as lofty as that and continue to have a sports dream to really be on the Olympic team in my sport. And I came very close. But when I made the decision, I realized I wasn't going to have the time to do both. So I had to make the decision. That didn't mean I didn't go back to the original dream, but I just had to, what's the word, Ruth? Put the thing on park for a little while.
Well, there's such a thing too as going for the essence of your dream. Perhaps you're not competing in the Olympics, but I bet you're pursuing your sport still.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, and I have a son who was not allowed to play hockey, and he started playing when he was 22, and people laughed at him for his bad skating for a minute. And now he's so happy. He has this hockey team that are his best friends in his community, and he has such fun playing at night. And he's not in the Red Wings, but he probably wouldn't have been anyway. But he that's a much loved part of his life, and there's a way to get the essence of whatever it is you want, and sometimes it's even it seems very mundane when you actually voice it to people, but you know it's related to your buried dream when your heart sings, when your heart's in it. And that's a lot of the problem. We get into our heads and we evaluate things, and that's not where you achieve your dreams. Achieve your dreams in your middle, in your heart, in your center. And sometimes they are things that we have trouble accepting because they don't evaluate. You can't explain to somebody how you're going to do this. And so possibly you shouldn't try. You should just figure out what it is. What could I do? What would I do if there were no holds barred?
Yeah.
What would I do if money wasn't an issue? What would I do if my mother wasn't going to criticize me? What would I do if I knew I wouldn't fail?
Boom. That's a question I've been using on this show. Let's stay with that. What would I do if I knew I wouldn't fail? Okay. So when you think about that, it doesn't matter how old the dream is. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter where you are in your life. What would you go for? What would you do? What would you go for? And let's talk about that for a minute, because you see, that's enough of a spark to get you to at least come out of the gate a little bit. You know what I mean? It's like one of those movies where the hand comes up through the soil, right? Just like, hey, my dream, I'm still here. But I don't know that our dreams ever truly leave us. Can we talk about that for a minute?
I don't think they ever do. And I really am beginning to believe you cannot fail. One of my clients has always had a dream, and she was almost embarrassed to say what it was. She wanted to be an expert and make really good money for being an expert. And she's a consultant, and her family had worked against this so hard all her life that she thought she couldn't do it. And she said, that doesn't sound like anything big deal, so I'm a consultant. I want to be an expert and make a lot of money. She got to the point in her life where she couldn't do anything else because of the pandemic, because of her age, because of the job market, because of the a lot of factors in the world right now. She either had to be a success and make a lot of money being an expert, or she had to retire and live on Social Security. And lo and behold, she's making a lot of money as an expert now, and she's got more work than she ever could get before. And and I always felt like that dream was just waiting for her, like, just waiting to pounce on her when the time was right if she wouldn't go for it. And I'm beginning to think that there's something about these sorts of buried dreams. They're so important to us. They're going to happen in one way or another if they can.
Yeah.
So I think if we can open the door a little bit
Exactly.
and let that dream in,
yeah.
sometimes the energy is already there for it to come through.
Yeah. So I love what you just said, because you know what I love about it, Ruth? Here's the deal. There may be a door, but we have the illusion that the door was locked. See that? And that we don't have the key anymore. Now, before we continue, I want to ask you, this is a body of work you do. This is one part of your coaching platform. This is the work you do, hypnotherapy, all of it. How do people find out more about this? Because if you're listening to this and you literally want to dig up that dream, you want to explore it. Maybe the dream needs to be modified. Maybe you've changed. There is a way to do this. How do people work with you, Ruth?
It's very easy. The best thing to do is go to ruth-wilson.com and sign up for a free consultation. I promise that in 30 minutes, I'll change your energy about your dream. You'll feel differently about it. Even, no matter what you choose to do, you can reach me there and talk to me a little bit.
I have been asked, I want to really jump into this. I have been asked multiple times. I have been asked the question, Pat, we heard this is your 20th year. How in the world did you hold on to the vision you had? How did you do that? How did you learn the patience? How did you? This is like a question that I'm getting a lot of. Now we're 14th year now with the network. And that was a lofty vision. For us, we had built technology that had to wait for the cloud to be developed. There were things we had to wait for, and now we don't. But the question always comes up is, how do I hold on to it? How do I see the dirt being dug up, Ruth, ready to put my dream in. I see it happening. I don't want to bury it. I don't want to bury it. Let's take a short break. When we come back, Ruth is going to walk us through what's holding you back. Do you think digging up your dream is very risky? What might happen if you did it? Are you afraid to be disappointed again? Do you think maybe you just don't have the stuff anymore? What are the things that are when we come back, Ruth is going to walk you through all of that. How much of that is an illusion?
Yeah.
How much of that may be true? When we come back, the illusion of your buried dream with Ruth Wilson. We'll be right back. Hey, everybody, welcome back. It's so great to have all of you tune us in, turn us on. I wanted to say this. This is Ruth's show, and I want to make sure you know this. This is the Intuitive Coaching Show. Ruth Wilson is the host of the show. And these are, for Ruth, these are the easy steps to create a life you love. And so every time we do a show, it's going to be about an area of your life like this one, that I know I could feel the energy out there when I'm talking to all you all out there right now. And I mean, I can't wait till Sierra pulls the shorts from this, because I want to talk to you all right now. And this is, have you given up on your dream? Literally, have you buried it? You don't even know if you buried it. Some of you have buried it in dirt. Some of you have buried it in sand. Some of you have buried it in soft soil. And some of you have buried it in cement. And you may be thinking to yourself, I can't imagine. If you want to figure out how to get that cement cracked, call Ruth, ruth-wilson.com. If you want to make sure you understand what's holding you back from even thinking about it, call Ruth. This time, what we're going to talk about is the illusion of the buried dream. Is it buried? Is it not buried? what gave you the illusion. And you know what the cool things are with illusions? They're illusions, right, Ruth?
They're right. You have a great, big, huge mind. Some of it's conscious and some of it's not consciously in your awareness. And you can bury a dream that way. But guess what? You didn't bury it in concrete and you can reach your subconscious. And if you think I'm doing any magic helping you do this, it's such the secret is it's not magic, it's easy. That dream wants you as much as you want that dream. And the minute you take the steps, the first couple steps, things start working together to bring that dream to you. You aren't really stopped. Maybe you don't know how to do things. And you've probably been taught to analyze everything to death. But once you get out of your analyzer and into your heart and start admitting what it is you want to do, you'd be surprised at how much easier everything gets. When you're waking up at 3 in the morning, feeling anxiety because there's something you didn't do, I'm almost sure it's that buried dream. And when you start taking steps toward it, those 3 o'clock times that haunt you, they go away.
Yeah.
Or you wake up and you're full of bright ideas about what you could do. And that's kind of fun, except that it's 3 in the morning. So it's never really too late. And Pat said something really brilliant about technology. A lot of things that you might have wanted to do a long time ago are suddenly super easy because we have such great technology now. You know, you want to be on TV, here we are on TV. There were a few years ago you couldn't do that. So there are lots of opportunities that we didn't used to have.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of learning how to get in touch with that part of yourself. That can be very, very scary because you don't know what it is.
Right.
It's like if somebody stood behind a screen, they might scare you because you don't know who's there. But when your best friend comes out from behind that screen, it's like, oh, okay, that wasn't scary at all. So the dream that is probably frightening you and making you think you chose to ignore it for good reason is probably what's haunting you. And but that doesn't mean it's bad, and it doesn't mean you should be haunted. It means that you should pursue it one way or another. The other thing is you need a little savvy to pursue a dream. You can't just go barreling in and do it the way you wanted to do it when you were 5. You know a lot more now. And you have experts to help you and ways to find out how you can make that dream fit into the world. So I think the first thing to do is just write down now, if you can, what would I do if I had all the money I wanted? What would I do if I had all the time? What would I do if I knew I couldn't fail?
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you, you can't fail.
Yeah. Let's talk about that. I mean, that was a tagline of ours since I can't remember when. And, maybe on another show, I happened to be supported by people that encouraged me that I couldn't fail, even when even when the good news for me, ignorance played a major role in helping me get to where I am today. Because had I know what I know now about entering a doctoral program, I wonder if I would have even tried, but I didn't. I was staying right there with the vision and a dream that I had since 17 years old for the oddest reason. I delivered mail to PhDs. Guess what? They had fun. I wanted fun. I thought getting a PhD would give me fun. That's a whole other show. But the point is this. And by the way, it did, because I'm having a blast. But here we are today. What do we want to say to people that think that their dream is the cement one? It's under the, you know what I'm saying? It's under the cement, like in some of those movies, right? But even cement can be broken up, right?
Yes, it can. And I would say this is probably, maybe topsoil, but not cement. It's probably not that big a deal. And I would say the best thing to do is find some support and be careful where you find it. Your immediate family is probably not the best group to consult about a buried dream. The spouse who doesn't want you to change jobs probably is going to be really challenged by talking about something like that until you've given it some thought and figured out
Yeah.
what you want to do. At this point, you're not making plans, you're just exploring, just looking in your heart. What is it that really turns my crank? What is it that really makes me happy? What makes my heart sing? What am I really, really good at? And what would I be delighted to do? And it will set you, I can promise it will set you on a yellow brick road. You will go on a bit of a voyage, a bit of a journey, and you'll, like the PhD, there will be things that were not easy. There are things that where you're going to face yourself and go, oh my gosh. But you'll see when you've done those things that they were just exactly the things you needed to do, just exactly the perils you had to face, just exactly the obstacles. And you'll also find out that you're doing something at the end of the road where you're very, very, very happy.
Yeah. I want to say, I mean, you all have heard me joke about the PhD, but I will tell you there were many, many other milestones. Let me give you one, for example. I stuttered as a kid. You just heard me stutter right there. I stuttered as a kid. I really did. And, you know, having that, I'm doing it now, having that part of me, I had a dream. My dream was I envision myself not stuttering. I envision myself being able to just answer a question when I'm asked a question. I envision, and what I learned from stuttering is I learned how to not only be a good listener, but after somebody asks you the same question 6 times, what you learn how to do is interpret. And that skill has helped me do what I do today. But you see, that was my dream for a long time. It was, please help me be able to say this person I just met, help me just be able to tell them how much I really like them in one sentence. So sometimes we have to, or we do, take a dream that may not seem like a dream for other people. Let's talk about there's no big dream, there's no little dream, there's no right dream, there's no wrong dream. And that's a hook we can get into by thinking, that's not my dream, it's just not big enough. But that was my dream, Ruth. For a lot of years in my teenage years, it was like, please let me get this sentence out.
Yes, I would say if it was in your heart to do it, there was a real reason for it. And these things that we think of as drawbacks or problems in us are usually the quirks that make us special. You don't have any trouble talking that I can see. and the quirks that make us special are really important for what we do. That's our personality. And also, a lot of times the dream could seem really small. It might seem insignificant, like my friend who just wanted to make enough money. But look how many people she's helping now.
Yeah.
She's helping so many companies get their internal relations correct and right and working well. And it's just, I told a client the other day that you've got to be careful about the powers that be because they want to scare you these days. I don't know, maybe they always did. But the powers that be want us to be scared and very scared. And you'll be told a million reasons why you shouldn't be yourself and you shouldn't do what you really love and why it's silly to do this and more important to do that. And the truth is you were built just exactly as you should be. You're whole, you're perfect, you're complete, you got what you need. And whatever is calling to you is probably really important. And when people tell you late in life what disappointments they have, it's usually that they didn't follow those things. So I would say you're better off going after it, even if you fall on your face, which you probably won't, and making what you can of it. And I haven't seen anybody who pursued one of these buried dreams yet who failed at it. I've only seen people be really exhilarated and happy.
Yeah. I love this conversation. I really do, because you and I both come from the same place. There isn't anything that I look back on now that I wasn't able to achieve. I'm not saying I didn't have to take the windy road sometimes, but it happened in the end. And then, even though I had a dream that I thought would look one way, it turned to be something much bigger and better than I could imagine. Thank you, Ruth. Again, what's the best way for people to work with you?
Ruth-Wilson.com. Sign up for a free consult, book with me, and we'll talk about what I can do to help.
Yeah, let's get those buried dreams unburied. Thank you all for tuning us in, turning us on. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for tuning in to the Intuitive Coaching Show with me, Ruth Wilson, and Dr. Pat. Tune in and watch next time for easy steps for creating a life you love. Every first Thursday of the month, 11:30 a.m. Pacific Time, 2:30 Eastern, on transformationtalkradio.com, to turn crave into brave, desire into inspire, and catapult your life force full steam ahead the intuitive coaching way. Discover your inner magic and how easy it can be without censoring yourself or spending years on self-development. Move toward what you desire right now, the intuitive coaching way. For more information, connect with me visiting intuitivecoach.info.